The old generation in One Piece is something we hear a good amount about, but don't get to see much of. We hear of Shiki fighting Sengoku and Garp on the shores of Marineford, and then escaping from Impel Down soon after that. Or Roger and Whitebeard, clashing on numerous occasions and typically fighting to a draw. However, before all of that, probably the man who defined this era before Roger, Rox D. Xebec was terrorizing the world government and its allies. But how strong is he actually? While I don't wish to claim I know exactly how strong he is, I do at least want to take a look at things he's done in the story and compare them to others' feats and hockey to get an idea of just how powerful he truly is. Additionally, this will serve as a pseudo Chapter 1155 preview. Hope this will do it justice. Before his introduction, we knew little of Prox's actual strength, but we had a good idea of how strong he was. We theorized he was strong due to Kaido's "How high will your ceiling go?" panel, and from the exposition that we got from Sengoku, detailing that he had 3 emperors on his crew at once, in Kaido, Pigmom, and Whitebeard, and him being called Roger's greatest foe. Additionally, Sengoku states that his name was erased from history due to him actively attacking the world government and the taboos he sought and uncovered. Also, we learn at God Valley, Garp and Roger had to team up in order to defeat him. 2 powerhouses from the old generation versus 1 man. And that he also had more powerhouses in Shiki, an escapee of Impel Down, a feat only matched by Luffy and his squad of prisoners, but Shiki allegedly did it alone. And then there are a few others that we'll get into later. Now, let's get into the new information we have. First of all, in 1154, it is revealed that he is the father of Blackbeard, which potentially could scale up Blackbeard as well. Additionally, in 1155 now, when he turns to strike Loki, the narration reads that Prox's sword attacks were famous for wiping away everything in sight. A little insane glaze from the narrator. Also, we see that he indeed did have his sights on being king of the world, a dream that we can assume is only matched by Emu, as he tells Harold his plans and declares that no authority will last forever. He states, "I'll wipe out the Navy and bring the Holy Land to its knees, and in the end, I'll be the king of the world." Within the chapter as well, we see Harold and Rox clash blades, sending out what we can assume is Conqueror's Hockey. As seen in the panel below the clash, the 2 aren't touching blades, meaning that this is advanced Conquerors. While it's been unclear if Harold is a Conqueror during this entire backstory, I think this clash proves that both him and Rox are at the very least quite skilled in their Conqueror's Hockey usage. Additionally, it says that in a 5-kilometer radius, everything was eradicated. I'm a stubborn American, so that's 3.107 miles in the correct terms. I'll take a quick second to thank all my viewers outside of America. Thank you guys for commenting. It is so insane to me that my videos would have that much of a reach and that people in just completely different places and cultures still enjoy to watch my videos. That just means the world to me. It's so cool. Thank you guys. But regardless, that hockey feat is absolutely insane. If we compare this to Roger and Whitebeard's clash, the people around them were still standing, although most of their crewmates are hockey trained or presumably have some kind of a resistance to it. But we do see the trees and even the boats tilted on their side due to the pressure from how strong their hockey was. So I do want to give the edge to Roger and Whitebeard a little bit, but this is most likely just underneath. Especially considering that Rox was damaged though, as he had just ended a fight with an admiral, which we will get into. Now I want to talk about the things that are truly unmatched that Prox has done. First of all, as stated, he fought an admiral, but not only did he fight an admiral, he ended up clipping this admiral. This already is a feat unmatched in the story, The closest we've seen come to this is Whitebeard putting Akainu in the ground, but Akainu stands up later and keeps fighting. Speaking of Akainu though, he's actually the closest to this feat that we know of, as when him and Aokiji fought on Punk Hazard, it is stated that Akainu let Aokiji live out of mercy, which we could interpret as Aokiji was near death, but even this took him 10 days to accomplish. We still don't truly know how strong Akainu is, but now I think we can safely say that Rox is definitely beyond him. Next, although it was also off-screen, man, this dude really is Blackbeard's pops. It is said that Rox, wait for it, destroyed a gate of justice. Like, what? How? Why even? I'm pretty sure it was to escape after he attacked and commandeered a ship with heavenly tributes on it, but that is just insane. Like, the gates of justice are beyond massive. Did he destroy the entire thing, or just like cut a hole in it? The word used here is destroyed, so I would imagine that he actually brought down at least a part of it. Maybe like one of the doors? But that's still so wild. Like, that is a truly unmatched feat within the story. Maybe it's at least similar to Whitebeard destroying Marineford, or Luffy destroying the Noah. But I don't know. In my opinion, those aren't great comparisons. But before we get into the biggest feat of them all, I want to talk about the people he had on his crew and what that means for Rox himself. It is told to us that Rox gathered his crew from Davy back fights, a game that we saw plenty of in Long Ring Long Land. And let me just say, it's so sick that this is back in the story. I knew it had to come back at some point. In the Davy back fight, the winner gets to pick a person from the losing crew to come and join their crew, and a total of 3 games are played. It is shown in Long Ring Long Land, the loser didn't have to participate in the game that was just played, as shown when Foxy chooses Chopper to join him from the Straw Hat crew, leaving Zoro and Sanji to play the Groggy Ring all by themselves. So I think it's unfair to say that Rox 100% beat every person that joined his crew, but we can at least assume he played some type of game with them, as he started out solo, so he was playing every game all by himself, at least at the beginning. But in the chapter, we see Shiki, as previously stated, Whitebeard, also previously stated, but a future Yonko, Buckingham Stussy, a science robber, whatever that means, Don Marlin, a gangster in the West Blue, pretty sure this is his first introduction, Kanzui, who I'm pretty sure we also saw at Cod Valley, a pirate smuggler, and we finally get to see Wang Ji, the future Commodore of Pirate Island and the stated pirate guru. In the present of the story, he was defeated during the off-screen, once again, Blackbeard, Brocky Port incident, where Blackbeard, with the help of Law and Kobe, took control of Hachinosu, or Pirate Island. Small theory, he looks very similar to Caribou, but at first glance I also thought of Vasco Shot due to the multiple chins. Maybe he's the father of one of these two? I would lean towards Caribou, as that would explain why Caribou wants to get in touch with Blackbeard, as he is Rox's son and Wang Ji used to serve him. But just some speculation. Not shown in the chapter though, it is also stated that he had Kaido and Big Mom on his crew. I do want to mention though, it is also unknown if Kaido and Big Mom joined from Davy back fights. Regardless though, the fact that Kaido, Big Mom, and Whitebeard were all under him proves that this man had to be truly built different. The addition of Shiki and Wang Ji, who we can assume to be decently strong, adds a little bit as well. He has the most known conquerors under his command out of anyone else in the series other than the world government. Although, I will say, as stated by Shiki in the chapter, they really don't care about Rox, and Whitebeard openly doesn't claim him as his captain in Cod Valley. But Stussy does mention that his plans are good, so it's shown that there is very little respect amongst the crew, so it's not like they're truly under him, but they do like his ideas. And, regardless though, they come together under his flag, so that has to mean something. Finally, though, when talking about his feats, if destroying the Gate of Justice wasn't unmatched, this next thing truly is. In a historical anomaly, never repeated before or since, someone infiltrated the Chamber of Flowers at the very core of the Holy Land. This man described himself as a worshipper of Davy Jones. He did not do anything more than that, as he knew he could not. But before he departed, he left a warning. I will be back right here. This is crazy. First of all, I want to say that I was truly wrong. My thoughts on Blackbeard and Rox were they had to be tied to the Void Century, as the other three people in the cut-up image were tied to it. I said something along the lines of, he could know who Emu is, but I just don't see that. Well, holy crap, he does! And not only does he know who Emu is, but he was able to see them in the Chamber of Flowers. He's the only person other than Emu and Gunko, as we see in this chapter, to be in that room. But the only time ever as an invader, we don't even see the Gorosei in this room. Like, that's how crazy this is. He also did this entirely alone. He hadn't gathered his crew at this point and presumably had no one to help him get in there. And he escaped from there. Reminder, defeating an admiral in the process. Don't want to give too many escape feats though. All the Sabo fans are going to upscale him to Rox. Just insane work. But all of these examples show that Rox is 100% a top tier, no matter how you look at it. And I hope we get to see him in action more at some point. But real quick, I said that I was wrong about Blackbeard and Brox's connection to the Void Century. But what if they actually are? Rox explains that he is a worshipper of Davy Jones. Well, in Long Ring, Long Land, Robin states that Davy Jones is a pirate from long ago who was cursed by a demon and lives on the sea floor. In the Elbaf mural and Emu's powers, demons are mentioned as well. So maybe Emu is the one who put a curse on him. And that's why Rox would tell Emu that he is a worshipper of Davy Jones. There's some kind of history there. What if Davy Jones is like the Blackbeard or Rox of the Void Century, like the evil pirate of the day to counteract the, quote, good pirate in Joy Boy and the 20 Kingdoms? Also, Robin states that any sunken ships or treasure goes to Davy Jones's locker at the bottom of the sea. Additionally, devil fruit users also sink to the bottom of the ocean, so that could be linked to him as well, but that's just a small theory. Now, I do have a quick theory, as I don't know if I've heard anyone else mention this, at least I haven't heard it anywhere else, but it's about Brox's devil fruit. I've heard a bunch of theories that he may have like the Ope Ope no Mi, or the Chop Chop fruit, or the Yami Yami no Mi, just any of those honestly. But I have a different idea, so I wanted to share that. Now, it would be cool if Brox didn't have a fruit, because it would kind of like a mirror Roger a little bit more, and I think that would be cool. However, a minor argument to that though, it does say that he didn't do anything else in the Chamber of Flowers or to Emu, as he knew that he couldn't do anything, which could be interpreted as Emu is just stronger than him and he recognized that. But it could also be interpreted that Emu's Haki just had the ability to neutralize him, similar to Shanks with Green Bull on Wano, if he has a fruit, of course. But that's just all speculation. We don't actually know why he didn't try to do anything. There's probably a bigger reason. But now for the actual theory. When Rox is introduced in 1154, he is seen standing in front of Loki. And I don't know about you, but I don't see any holsters or sheaths or signs of any weapon, honestly. But then in 1155, he draws a sword to strike Loki. And in the room with Harold, there isn't a sheath or anything on his body at all, and there are a bunch of full shots of him. Additionally, when he's in the Chamber of Flowers, he's holding a gun. But on his body, there aren't any holsters. He could have stored it in his waistband, but as I said, in Harold's room, it's just not shown there. Lastly, while I agree it could just be blood, on the panel of the Davy back fight, the axe he is wielding has kind of like a black wavy thing all over it, like a leaking off of it, but it doesn't look like hockey. But like I said, it could just be blood. But what if this is something different? What if this is similar to solo leveling, where Sung Chinu can use his inventory to store weapons and items at will, and Rox has an inventory ability. It's like the store fruit or something like that. It's also interesting that in the chapter, it is announced that 5 kings have been kidnapped, and it is important they specify kidnapped. They also specify that it was a large man dressed in black. They assume it's Harold, as he is very large, but he didn't do it, obviously. We know that he's a good guy. But if it was Rox, I wouldn't personally describe him as a large man, but he was dressed in black. But as stated before, he was there completely alone. So how could he have kidnapped 5 people and invaded the Chamber of Flowers and escaped and fought an admiral and it's just like that's a lot of things that he did. Well, what if he kidnapped them with this store ability? I guess this could also be the Yami no Mi, and he's like storing the weapons and stuff within his body, like the void of the darkness. And that would also explain why Blackbeard sought out this specific fruit. But it is just a theory, so take it with a grain of salt. As we close, chapter 1155 is absolutely insane. The amount of feats that we saw from Rox is just on a different level of strength, and I'm so excited to see what he does later. I'm also interested to see what this means for the future of Blackbeard, and if he ends up being a conqueror. Spoilers, I don't think he is. Dude runs away from every fight. Unfortunately, we have a break next week, but I'm also going to be out of town next week, so it kind of works out. But as Wildgate did finally drop, I do have a couple videos in the works from the launch day of that, so stay tuned for those. But, as always, my name is Hunt. Actually, it's my middle name, and thanks for watching.